Hello, young people. This video is for you. And it's for you specifically because the older people, your parents and grandparents, will already know what I'm going to talk about. But the older people who are watching this video, you are more than welcome to stay as a refresher. So, young people, I know you love to study history because you're quoting history all of the time. On Facebook, on TikTok, and that's great. So I want to give you a little history lesson that I've learned. And I want to talk to you about a time before you were born, a time before your parents even met each other. So get out your note, pause this video, get out your notebook and a pen. School is in session. I want to talk about two things today. One, Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King. Who was he? Many of you should know and do know, but I fear you just pretty much know his name. Well, that he was the leader of the civil rights movement in the 50s and the 60s. But did you know what he did? Did you know how he led? Martin Luther King believed in what's called nonviolent protest. So what is a nonviolent protest? Well, two things. Nonviolent in your actions and nonviolent in your speech. What does that mean? Nonviolence in your speech. That means no insulting. That means no threatening. That means no calling names. That means no disrespecting. That's what it means to be nonviolent in your speech. And nonviolence in action, I think, is self-explanatory. Now, why did King do this? Well, two reasons. One, because it was already done in the early 1900s by another man called Gandhi. Who was Gandhi? Gandhi rose up to be a leader and led his people to become independent from Britain. And he also practiced and taught nonviolent protest. Number two, Dr. Martin Luther King was also a pastor, a Christian pastor. So he knew about who, do you think? I'll give you a hint. He's in the Gospels. Yep, Jesus. And what did Jesus preach? Love. Love. Love who? Your friends? Yeah, but more. Go on. Love your neighbors? Yeah, but keep going. Also loving, are you ready? Your enemies. Not just loving your enemies, but treating your enemies good. In action and in speech. Now, I know right now a lot of you guys are confused. A lot of you guys are objecting. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Okay, calm down. Hold on. Let me tell you, I'm going to give two instances, two examples of what I'm talking about. Two real life examples. But before I do, let me talk to you about a second thing. The civil rights movement. So what was the civil rights movement in America? The civil rights movement aimed to give black people the same equal rights as white people and every other race and gender. Also did something else. People fought for the right for black people to be viewed by the law and people as human beings. Because if you know your history about slavery, how was black people viewed by the law, by their own government, and by white people? They were viewed as what? People? No. Nope. Well, how were they viewed? As property, as domesticated animals like cattle, which was considered property. So the civil rights movement fought for two things: equality, freedom for everyone, and for black people to be viewed as human, as people. Now, white people, let me tell you how you guys came into the picture. A lot of white people started asking black people, yep, asking, okay? And that's really important. Why? Because you're actually being respectful instead of assuming. You're acknowledging that they can stand up and speak for themselves instead of assuming and thinking they can't. Therefore, you have to, without their permission, go ahead and speak up and stand up for them. It seems good, but it's not. So these white people would literally ask, go up to black people who are holding signs, protesting, and saying, hey, if I stand with you and hold up a sign, will that help you or will that harm you? And they would say, it would help us. Here you go. Here's your sign. But you gotta understand something, guys, that you're not experiencing now. It was very, very dangerous. It was dangerous enough for a black person to stand up and march for equal rights. It was also very, very dangerous for a white person to join a black person and do the same thing. Matter of fact, they start forming organizations, start organizing, where white people would come and sign up to march and stand with black people. And the first thing they would hear is a warning. You could very well die. Not injured. Die. You could lose your life. And that's what happened to many white people, standing and fighting with their fellow human beings, black people. Many were hanged. Many were beaten. Many were firebombed on the buses and burned alive. True story. Google it. Now I'm going to give you two examples. And these two examples are also videos. You can actually go on YouTube and type in civil rights movement, videos of civil rights movement, and watch videos. And when you do that, so I'm going to give you homework to do that, okay? When you're done with this video, go to YouTube and type in videos of civil rights movement. And I want you to pay attention to something. I want you to hone in onto something. The interactions between the black people and the white people. And I mean racist white people. And I'm not talking about what you think a racist white person is. I'm not talking about someone who just disagrees with them. Okay? I'm talking about a racist white person who does not like black people because of black people's skin color, who believes that black people are beneath them, who calls them ugly names like the N-word, which is a dehumanizing word. I know black people love to use that word, and I understand because that word means ignorance or ignorant. And I hate to say this, there's some ignorant black people today running around. Just like there's some ignorant white people today running around. And white people, some white people, the racist white people, hated black people. I'm not talking about disliked them, okay? I'm talking about hated them. That's like the next level. That's like deeper than dislike. And these racist white people did not want black people in their communities, neighborhoods, places of business, schools, or even on buses. That's why America had a law that made segregation legal. What's segregation? Segregation gives a white-owned business, school, organization, the right, not just permission, the right to deny black people entry into their facility and service. Also, they had, and you don't see this at all. You will never see this. Thank God. They also had restrooms for white people only and restrooms for colored people only. Now, notice what I said. I didn't say black people, colored people only. And and guess what the quality of the two restrooms were? They weren't the same. The white restrooms were clean. The colored people's restrooms were dirty. So here are two examples. One example was a group of white young people. Yep. Mostly these were young people, white and black, that stood together and fought and marched and stood up for the rights of black people and the right for black people to be viewed as human. So kids, your age actually, yep, your age. Mhm, definitely. One interaction was a group of black kids. They wanted to go somewhere and get into somewhere. I don't remember where. But they wanted to do that. And before they could go in, they were met by a group of racist, real racist guys. Okay? Know the difference. Real racist white people. And one older gentleman, white gentleman, started yelling at this black young person, calling him names, telling him he doesn't want him. We don't want you here. And every time this white man would pause, the young black man would start speaking. How do you think he spoke to this angry, racist white man? How do you think he addressed him? What words do you think he used? What was his tone? Let me tell you. First, he called him sir. Yep. Yeah. Because that was a polite thing to do back then. Still is today, actually, for a young person to address an older person as sir. Yep. So he showed, the black young man showed that racist, angry, older white man respect. You heard me right. Let that sink in real quick. Number two, the young black person's tone. He did not raise his voice. He talked how I'm talking to you right now. Yeah. He talked like he was having a conversation, not a screaming match. Because here's the thing, guys. Write this down. The truth spoken does not become truer when spoken louder. The truth does not become truer when spoken louder. And these young white and black kids, I'm 53, so I can't help it, knew that. And they were nonviolent in speech, they were showing love. Then this young white man, I'm sorry, young black man started to present truth. Yeah, he presented his case. He still stood up for his rights. He still stood up to be viewed as a human being, just like that white man. Yeah, he did. He still tried to get his point across. Yeah. Martin Luther King taught people, and people understood something. To win an argument requires intelligence and maturity. To lose an argument requires unintelligence and immaturity. I see you young people going around trying to convince people of your point of view and that you're right and they're wrong. Nothing wrong with that. And you present convincing arguments. You guys are smart. You really are. But then when someone doesn't agree with you, you have a meltdown and you start insulting them. Guys, as being alive on this planet for 53 years, as well as your parents and your elders can also attest to, you will never, ever, ever get someone to agree with you, to see your side when you insult them. Do you hear me? It doesn't work. Let me give you another example. Often these black young people will walk into diners. Diners were restaurants. Now in a diner, at the front of the diner, in front of you have a diner and then the kitchen. So close to the kitchen had a long counter, very long counter, kind of like a bar. And the counter would have a cash register. Sometimes it would have some pies in a case. And behind the counter would be like coffee. Keep that in mind. And water and condiments and straws, all that stuff. And along this counter, you'd have bar stools. Not chairs, bar stools that had no backs that you could sit on. So a group of black people, and young black people usually, would go into these diners, would sit on these bar stools, and not say a word. Wouldn't say a word until a white server would tell them, "You can't be here. We're not going to serve you. Get out." And the group of black people would just simply say, "We want a hamburger. We're here for a hamburger." Because often action speak louder than words. Them just being there and staying there, they were communicating louder than their words could communicate. We believe we have the same right to come into your diner and be served despite our skin color being different, despite our race being different. That is what their actions, just sitting there and staying there, communicated loudly to all the white people that was in the diner, to the server who refused them service. That's what they were saying. And they didn't bring in signs either. There was no signs that they bought in to the diner. And they would sit there, waiting for their order. Now the next thing is going to get a little rough. I'm sorry if I'm going to get teary-eyed. I hope not. So what would these white people do? They would start yelling at them. The servers would yell at them. Some of the white diners would get up from their booths and surround these black young people and start yelling at them and cussing at them, calling them names. And some servers would grab a whole pot of steaming coffee and just throw it into a black person's face. And I don't know if you've ever had hot black coffee thrown into your face. It hurts. And did a black person leave when that happened to them? Did they start crying? No, they stayed. They would not let hate drive them away from what is right. And they wouldn't yell back. They would not be disrespectful to the servers and to the people. They wouldn't get up and get into the white people's faces who were surrounding them. That never happened. Watch the videos. Now I know, and I understand, that a lot of you are thinking, I've lost my mind. Or thinking, what the hell is this old, ignorant, white person saying? Because times are different, right? Times have changed. That doesn't work anymore. And what did they do? What did they accomplish? Well, I'm going to tell you what they accomplished. Martin Luther King and his people who followed him, white and black, who practiced nonviolent protests, nonviolent in action, and nonviolent in speech, accomplished something that no other civil rights leader accomplished in America. Did you hear me? I'm going to say it again. Dr. Martin Luther King and his people accomplished something that no other leader, civil rights leader in America has accomplished and has ever accomplished. And you can think of some leaders. Martin Luther King and his followers had what is called the Civil Rights Act, a piece of legislation signed by a white president, passed by an all predominantly white government. It became law. What was the Civil Rights Act? It gave freedom to black people and all people. And it declared black people to be people. So what's in the Civil Rights Act? A couple of things. I'm not going to go through it. I'm going to give you one more piece of homework. So Google, after you're done with this video, Google the Civil Rights Act. And I'm going to leave you with one question that I want you to honestly ask yourselves. Honestly. How you are standing up with black people and for black people. Standing up against racism and for equality. How you're doing it. And you know how you're doing it. Just watch videos on how you're doing and watch the news on how you're doing it. Ask yourself a question. Is anything changing? Is anything getting better? Is racism decreasing? Or is racism growing? Is it working? Is your tactics working? Is how you are approaching and talking to people or yelling at people, insulting people? Is it working? Think about it. I love you guys. Take care.